boys and girls. I'm so glad you could come back to Granny's place and listen to a story here in my little story corner. So I don't know if you've noticed all the geese around this summer. Even though I live close to a city, we have a lot of geese here. They usually like to hang out by the ponds or the lakes. And at this time of the year, they have their babies. So there's a lot of little baby goslings that are learning to swim and follow their parents and learn how to live independently in this world. So I happened to find a story about a gosling. It's the first story in this book called 5-Minute Paw Patrol Stories. So I thought I'd read that to you today. It's the first story in the book. Marshall to the rescue. It was an exciting day at the lookout. A flock of geese was stopping overnight to rest. Rocky built a big nest for the birds to sleep in. Rubble used his shovel to fill the nest with bread for them to eat. Marshall was so excited he accidentally tumbled into the nest. "The geese are coming!" he shouted. The geese flew in and landed, honking happily. Honk, honk. They started pecking at the pieces of bread right away. One tired goose settled down into the nest to relax. "She likes your nest, Rocky," Ryder said, patting the pup on the head. Rocky smiled, proud of his good work. But a baby goose wandered away from the rest of the flock. He waddled into a blue bucket and rolled down a hill. "I'll get him," Marshall announced, racing after the bucket. But as he ran, his feet got tangled up. Marshall and the little gosling ended up bouncing down the hill. When they reached the bottom, they were both a little dizzy. The gosling's eyes rolled around. "Are you okay, fuzzy little guy?" Marshall asked. "Cheep, cheep," the goose replied with a nod. "Hey," Marshall exclaimed, "Fuzzy is a great name for you." He nudged the gosling with his nose. "Back to your family, Fuzzy." Marshall took Fuzzy back up the hill to the lookout. "Nice work, Marshall," Ryder said. Marshall introduced the little goose to the rest of the Paw Patrol. Fuzzy liked all the pups, but Marshall was definitely his favorite. Sky chuckled. "Marshall, it looks like you have a new BGFF, best goose friend forever," and all the pups laughed. For the rest of the day, the two friends did everything together. The little goose followed Marshall everywhere he went. When Marshall washed his fire truck, Fuzzy polished the window with his tail feathers. Until Marshall accidentally washed the little goose with his hose. "Whoops! Sorry about that, Fuzzy." That evening, Marshall walked back to the nest with Fuzzy on his head. "Okay, Fuzzy," he said, bending so Fuzzy could hop off. "Time to hit the hay, or the nest." Fuzzy jumped up and down on Marshall's head. "Cheep, cheep." He didn't want his new friend to leave. "I suppose I could sleep out here," Marshall said. "But just this once." He curled up, and soon they were both asleep. First thing the next morning, while Marshall was still asleep, Fuzzy wandered off, looking for food. He was hungry. When Marshall woke up, he looked around for his friend. No Fuzzy. He called his name, but the goose didn't answer. Marshall ran to Ryder. Fuzzy is gone, he said. We have to find him before his flock leaves. Ryder called the Paw Patrol to the lookout. Our goose friends have to fly south for the winter, he explained. But they're missing one little goose. If we don't find Fuzzy fast, they'll have to leave without him. Chase, I need you to call Fuzzy with your megaphone. Marshall, Fuzzy would follow you anywhere. I need you to help look for him, too. Once outside the lookout, Chase broadcast a goose honk through his megaphone. But Fuzzy didn't answer. Marshall sniffed the ground, searching for clues. He found one of Fuzzy's feathers. Ryder picked it up and Chase took a whiff. Achoo! Chase sneezed. Sorry, I'm a little allergic to feathers. He took a few more sniffs. He sneezed, and then he announced, he went this way. Marshall, Chase, and Ryder jumped into their vehicles and raced across Adventure Bay. Their sirens blasted as they followed Fuzzy's feather trail. This was an emergency. Suddenly, Marshall heard chirping. Fuzzy was on the roof of the train station. He had a piece of bread in his beak, and the two seagulls were trying to steal it. Fuzzy, fly down here, Marshall called. He can't, Ryder said. A plastic soda can ring is wrapped around his wing. Marshall, use your ladder to help get Fuzzy down. Marshall extended the ladder on his fire truck, which scared away the seagulls. He climbed up the ladder, but Fuzzy slipped on the edge of the roof and he fell off. Use your helmet, Ryder cried. Marshall caught Fuzzy in his fire helmet. Sweet catch, Marshall, Ryder cheered. Now, let's get this off of you, Ryder said, carefully pulling the plastic ring off of Fuzzy. He was free again. The gosling flapped his wings, flew in the air, and he landed on Marshall's head. Marshall laughed. The Paw Patrol raced back to the lookout. They had to get there before Fuzzy's flock flew away. But they were too late. The geese had just left. Fuzzy would have to flap fast to catch up with them. Fuzzy didn't want to go, and Marshall didn't want him to leave either. A little gosling belongs with his family, Ryder said. Marshall agreed, and Ryder quickly came up with a plan to return Fuzzy to the flock. Let's take to the sky, Sky exclaimed as her helicopter rose and up into the air, lifting Marshall in a harness. Cheep, cheep! Fuzzy flapped his wings and he followed Marshall through the sky. Soon they caught up with the flock of geese. Goodbye, Fuzzy, Marshall called as Fuzzy joined the flock. Have a safe flight, you silly goose. There he goes with the other geese. Back at the lookout, the pups played jump rope. You guys did an awesome job today, Ryder said. What a bunch of good pups. Marshall missed Fuzzy, but he knew his little friend would visit whenever his family flew overhead. Until then, Marshall had his possum pup pals to keep him company. Wow, that was such a great adventure story. I'll think of that story now the next time I see the geese at the pond. Well, I hope you have a wonderful summer day, and I look forward to seeing you next time, okay? Bye-bye.